Welcome to another little soft opening garden vlog, and that is a white Gerber daisy just opening up this morning. I think in this season of the garden vlog we're probably going to talk quite a bit about mulberries, but right now let's talk about a specific topic. Yeah, we're on the iPad again. The lighting, the lens just does not handle anything but the brightest light well, but this is my clone of that Himalayan male mulberry I have. So this is the one that has that kind of Mary Jane-esque leaves, or papaya or chaya or something like that. Probably the only one I've ever seen that has this close of a resemblance, I would say. Whereas like there are hibiscus species and stuff that have leaves very similar. I waited many years for that seedling, and I planted the actual seed in the ground or in a pot for it to bloom. And then when it became male, I was so disappointed. I heard that they can change sexes, based on the population in the neighborhood, for pollination purposes. So I waited many years to see if the main tree would ever turn into a female or have a female bud sport or something, and it seemed like it never happened, and it may never happen. Or has it happened? Is there something up there, 30 foot in the air that I'm just not spotting? Directly under the tree, however, there are randomly mulberry seedlings, different leaves and all. So that's got me wondering if it's possible that some single bud sport, some single limb had a berry or multiple berries or something that were pollinated female. And the mulberries that come below this tree and around this tree line have some pretty big leaves sometimes, even compared to a lot of the white mulberries that pop up elsewhere. Here is another one. And there are baby mulberries all over the place down here. It has much smaller leaves, and I'm kind of thinking that is definitely mostly, if not just a red mulberry. And then we have this guy here, which is about 7.5 foot, also with some nice big leaves on it. And we got some really big leaf ones, maybe about 20 foot from the tree here. Check these out, these huge leaves on this guy. Now we are about 60 foot from a big white mulberry tree from here. And it's very possible that a bird is just going over there eating those white ones, red ones, dwarf everbearing or whatever, and just landing, on one of these oaks or box elders or tallow or that mulberry or red maple, and just pooping the fruit and the seeds out of their butt, and they're getting planted underneath here. And I'm thinking that's probably what happened with these smaller leaved ones that look like a red mulberry. But I guess we'll never know unless we grow them out and see if they're significantly different fruit size, flavor, something, color than the white and red mulberries, which are kind of, red are native, white are sort of invasive Russian mulberries that kind of take over sometimes. But there are a number of other types of mulberries other than the black, red, and white, like Korean and a few others. Last season on our garden vlog, and in between, we were taking some of the mulberry plants, trees, seedlings out in areas that were less than ideal for them to grow, but we are also kind of leaving a few where they may not pose a big risk of being in the way And some of them, you know, because of the size, would be in the way if we didn't prune them and train them and all that stuff. So we're going to take it one step at a time, prune them, ones that we keep in the ground, and just see what happens with a lot of them. And a lot of them will be rootstock for grafting as well. The thing about mulberries is you can't really judge them by their first fruit. You might have to wait 2 or 3 years to see size and flavor, you know, because they can start out really tiny and then get a little bit bigger on that second or third fruiting year. And I've noticed that with one of them that fruited last year and got a little bit bigger fruits this year, and one of them that is fruiting for the first time this year has super small fruits on it. Wetland zone 1, as long as these guys aren't really coming up right next to like a plant that we plant there, you know, for a specific purpose, a tree or whatever, and as long as they're not invading our walkway, we're gonna kind of experiment with them, I guess, just like we did with the elderberries. What was that, last year? We were trying to see if any of those crosses from the Johns, Adams, and wild crosses that just have, we had like dozens of probably genetically different ones we tested, and none of them beat our 2015 selection. Maybe one day they will we'll get something, but you know, that's freaking 10 years, you know, and it's not being beat yet. Maybe with introducing better cultivars of mulberries to the mix, you know, grafting, cuttings, whatever, or already rooted plants we get from nurseries or local people, will just have those genetics around, and that male will hopefully parent them and allow more seedlings to be tested. And of course, if we get good ones, we can also clone them. Right now we have at least 2 people wanting mulberries, and one of them wants a bunch of them, so we're going to mostly do seedlings. But I think I'm going to give her some improved cultivars as well. Make sure we have at least 1 or 2 good ones, even if those seedlings don't turn out to be that great. And in wetland zone 1 and probably other areas, we're going to try some different methods of like creating a food forest that doesn't revolve around just going out and getting fruit trees and shrubs and stuff like that. Kind of like David the Good had a video maybe a year or 2 back, it might have been longer than that, about doing seeds all over the place. You know, your leftover, whatever it is, peppers, tomatoes, probably bird seed, and you know, we have a guinea pig, and so we're going to do all kinds of stuff. And it's not just going to be for human consumption, it'll be for animals and birds and pollinators and everything. And just maybe dedicate a big or a small area to experiment with his method of creating a food forest. And that does involve planting trees and stuff like that as well, but you just kind of create this density of planting by starting in that way. Of course, anywhere we go now, we can't just like reset it and restart it, but we can kind of fill in areas that we've already started working on and just see how it happens. Do things reseed, as you know, and does it continue to be something that just recycles itself and replants itself, and or comes back as a perennial, or is it just like you put something down and 1 year it grows and then it's dead and doesn't come back? And I've been kind of inspired by looking at a compost bin or a compost area that one of my neighbors has been working on for years, and his marigolds reseed every year and they come back. And I don't think I've ever had that happen, but because, you know, they go to seed, maybe cold weather or something just doesn't allow those seed pods and seeds to survive. But in this hot compost, they survive and they come back. So we're going to have to look at a lot of different, techniques and areas that we haven't really tried yet to do. And in different areas can have different experiments and techniques. It's fine. I'm also hearing from people I know and people I don't know about peach seeds and stuff like that, where you're taught, I guess, that you need Nimagard or Florida Guard or some kind of rootstock on your peaches and your nectarines, your stone fruit, in order for them to do well. But so many people are reporting just getting grocery store seeds from Publix or something, cold stratifying them, planting them in the ground, and having them fruit after about 3 years, and continuously providing fruit. Now, we know we're in a wetlands area, so that's not going to happen just in wet soil. Have to have a raised bed, maybe a mycorrhizal bed or something like that. But there's just a lot of things that we haven't done that we probably should delve into. All right, I think I'm going a little bit off topic here from that mulberry topic. So I guess that's it for this video. Take care, guys.